Dad, thanks for sitting for this interview. It means a lot to me that you were willing to do this. I haven't had lots of occasions to tell you how proud I am to be your son and to be the son of Sparty. So I really appreciate it. And having a chance to record some of your history is a real honor for me, and I think the university too.
Well, I have a great value in doing this because it's something that I've wanted to do for a long time.
Great.
Because it was a very important part of my career here, both as a student and as a professor for a good period of time, over 50 years. And a lot of the memories and stuff I feel might have just sort of disappeared with my death. And so I'm very, very glad that you got this together, Doug. I deeply appreciate it.
Great. So tell me how you originally came to Michigan State University.
Well, I was thinking about both the University of Michigan and Michigan State. And I was on the swimming team and the tennis team in high school and had dreams of being a Spartan athletically. That didn't work out very well. I was able to get get onto the freshman team. I wasn't on the team, but I was to practice with them.
Okay.
Until I met somebody who really knew how to do the butterfly and showed me what it was all about. And then there was a young man on the tennis team, another freshman, who I gather went on to become one of the captains of the team, who showed me what really good tennis players were all about. And so that was my freshman year. But just coming here, it was just seemed like the place to be. Enjoyed the campus. I loved East Lansing, and it was just it was a no-brainer.
What I remember you telling me a story about what your mom told you when she dropped you off here. Do you remember what she said?
No, give me a hint.
What I remember you telling me is that when your mom dropped you off here, that she said, "Cy, this is your home now."
Yes.
Do you remember that?
Yes. And I saw that 1956 pink and gray Pontiac disappear, and then here's Michigan State, and here's Michigan State, and here I am, and oh my God. It was scary.
But
it was scary.
And it was the start of a 60-year relationship.
Yeah.
So, do you remember how your fraternity came in contact with the Sparty head?
Oh, God, yes. And I don't even think the local chapter knows about it. I spoke to them about it, and I think it went like that. We were the fraternity is Sigma Phi Epsilon. We were a colony, is what they would be for, sort of an organization before we became Sigma Phi Epsilon. And we were buying or renting, with help from our alumni, a house, I think it was 501 MAC. And as they were getting their stuff out, and as our group was moving in, all of a sudden up comes Sparty. And they said, "Anybody want this?"
The head.
The head. Yeah, anybody want this? And most people were saying, "Well, yeah, no." And what? And I said, "Yes, we want this." And I was thinking to myself, well, if you don't want it, I sure do. Mm-hmm. And from that point forward, we just showed up at Spartan Stadium. And I think sort of as a natural flow, we sort of became part of the band. That we had a couple of brothers who were on the marching band, and we just sort of ingratiated ourselves in that, and I usually followed the band out afterwards. They went out first, and then I came out and trolled around the outside.
So why did you want to be Sparty? So this head comes up from the basement of this building, right? And people are like, "Hey, who wants this?" And all the guys are like, "I don't know." Yeah. But why did you want to be Sparty?
Well, I wish I could give you something very dramatic, but it's not. I just saw 3 or 4 free tickets to every football game. They're not going to charge Sparty to walk on. And so that if I can get into the stadium wearing this head, I'll do it.
Good. Simple.
Yeah, it was very simple. It wasn't an overwhelming Spartan spirit. It was an overwhelming need to get into the football games.
Nice.
And so that worked out nicely for me.
Wonderful. And what was it like to be Sparty during the football games and walking around? What was it like?
I didn't do it. I didn't walk around during the games.
Okay.
I took because that thing, I wish it was here.
Yeah.
Was probably about that much taller than I am.
Okay, the head.
And balancing it, I still say I have a little crick right here in my nose where I carried it.
Right.
And so when you're running with this thing, and I was one of some of the other brothers tried it. They could hardly balance it. They could hardly walk with it. And here I'm running with it.
Wow.
And it's going bang, 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 bang.
Right.
And so by the time the game was over, I took it off I took it off. Went in with it.
Yep.
I didn't wear it during the halftime. And then I
Okay.
wore it out. We just set the head down and just, just moved aside.
So did people know that it was you underneath the head?
No.
Okay.
I mean, other than the fraternity did.
Yeah.
And there may have been other people that mentioned it, but I can't remember that being a part of any serious conversation with anybody during my undergraduate years.
Okay.
And I think I wore it the first year of my master's degree.
Right.
And then other brothers took over, and off she went.
So you started wearing it undergrad. Then tell me a little bit more about the other degrees you got here. So you said you got a graduate degree here, but that wasn't the only degree you got.
No, I got a master's in sociology, a PhD in sociology. I came here in 1958, and I think I graduated in 68.
Yeah, 62.
Well, that was undergraduate.
Okay, undergraduate.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got your PhD.
I got my master's and my PhD here.
Okay, yeah. So tell me more about the role that MSU, this place, played in your life, in your career.
I don't know that you have enough time. It was Michigan State became my heart and my soul. I was very. When somebody asks me about if you have any major memories of Michigan State and so on, it will always go back to Sparty. We'll always go back to wearing that head, having maybe it was just an egocentric belief that if it hadn't have been for me yelling, yes, we want that head, absolutely, that original head would have disappeared somewhere. And so with all due respect to myself, I'm trying not to say if it wasn't for me, but in a sense, that's, I think, the way it was, because none of the other brothers were of any mind to it. And I'm sitting there screaming, yes, I want it, I want it, I want it, I want it. And enjoyed every single moment of it.
And you were a professor here for 50 years. Why did you like teaching? We've talked about how you would teach in Conrad Hall. There'd be 300 students there.
I taught classes with as many as 500.
Yeah, so you really like to teach undergrads, if I remember right.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Maybe it was just the fact that in graduate school there's smaller groups and so on, and if I hope my language will be okay for the film. Where else in the world will anybody sit down and listen to an idiot like me pontificating about things in social science and so on? But I loved it. It was just being in front of a large group of students was just fun.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a job. I mean, people actually paid me to do this, and it was just a magnificent experience. I loved it.
So, so you've had now a 60-year relationship with Michigan State because you retired a handful of years ago. You're still coming to all the football games now that you've moved back to East Lansing. What do you feel when you see the marching band coming into the stadium?
I can remember the first game I saw when I got back. My usual route before the game is to park the car out in the parking lot, take the shuttle in, and go over to the Landon Field, I think it's called, right by the music building, and watch the group the band get together and practice and so on and so on. And the first time I was back, I remember sitting there, and when I'm going to do it right now, when they played the alma mater and the fight song, this is what happened. I teared up. And I was like, God, it is so good to be back with Sparty.
Yeah.
It's he became part of me. I don't see the like I said. I wish the head was here, so I could put my hand on him. Because maybe I like this. I kind of look like him. I feel like him. That it's just
A big head.
Big head, yeah, in more ways than one.
Yeah.
It's just a really wonderful experience that I had. That is the shining core of my memory of Michigan State.
That's great. So, Dad, for me, you truly are a Spartan through and through. You got all 3 of your degrees here. You met Mom here. You got married here. You guys moved into married housing here. You had all 3 of us kids, me, Scott, and Mary, here in East Lansing and Okemos. All 3 of us went to Michigan State. Scott's son, Cameron, came to Michigan State. Scott's son, Grant, watches every single Michigan State game. Scott's still super involved with the Alumni Association. I had my stint in student government. And as you might remember, Mary, she was battling cancer, had to go to U of M hospital. But every time she went, she always wore Spartan clothes.
Oh, there's a great story.
Hold on a second.
Okay.
There is. I'll tell you that.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell that story. But I just want you to know that it wasn't until well after my graduation that I started to tell people, they would say, oh, you went to Michigan State. So, they just assumed I had a rivalry with another school. And I was like, no, actually, my biggest pride point is that I am the son of Sparty. And people would say, oh, and I was like, no, you don't understand. Sparty was my dad, is my dad. And so when I think about how other universities have sayings that will allude to things like, we are the leaders and we are the best. What I think about, and partly what you taught me, was that, being a Spartan is about being a part of a group. It's about you can be best instead of trying to be best in the world. You try to be best for the world, and then try instead of being the leader, and the person out front, you're the person behind the scenes and supporting everyone else. And so, of the legion of Spartans that have been on this campus since 1855. It's something that means a lot to me to say that I am the son of Sparty. And I really do think that while you're not a perfect person and you've made some mistakes in your life, like everybody has.
Oh, yeah.
That you really do epitomize what a Spartan really is. And so let me ask you, here you are coming forward, telling your story about being Sparty to help fill in the gaps of history for Sparty. So what would you tell another person who was Sparty, during their time here about why it's important to come forward and tell their story about being Sparty?
I think to share the kind of feeling that I had, there was something when I put the Spartan head on. I'm going to get soupy. When I put the Spartan head on, it was almost a feeling of transformation, that I was no longer who I was. I was Michigan State Sparty for a little period of time. And I just felt that was just something of great significance. It wasn't I'm Sparty. It was, I'm carrying the head that represents Michigan State University. I owe a lot to that university. It was my career. As you said, Doug, I met my wife. I had my children here. I taught here for over 50 years. And I did move down to Florida for a period of time. And coming back, it was a feeling of coming home. And I knew the time was right. And when I I think I may have mentioned this when I went over to the band for the first time that I got back, and the fight song came on. I was just blubbering. I was home, and that's what it felt like. It felt like home.
So thank you again for doing this. Really appreciate it. Go green.
Go white. Michigan State. Fight, fight.